Screen Rants. Bad takes.
There's been a slew of articles on Screen Rant that have been aimed at Christopher Nolan and talking about how crappy his movies were and how the Batman is the superior Batman movie. No hate on the Batman. I liked the movie. I have some complaints, but like there has been like a targeting of a bunch of articles saying Nolan's movies was garbage and the Batman is way better. I looked it up. Do you want to know how many articles Nathaniel has written on the Batman?
How many?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 so far.
Wow.
And every single one
comparing it to
every
Nolan.
single one is talking about how Nolan's movies were garbage. We talk about this one. This is the show don't tell. The Batman is better because Nolan's movies had too many monologues. The Batman opens with like a 13-minute monologue. Okay,
Yeah.
Shut up. The Batman fixes Nolan's Gotham mistake because the Gotham was cooler in the Batman than it was in Nolan's films. Shut up. The Batman fixed Nolan's biggest Bruce Wayne mistake because in Nolan's trilogy, he becomes Batman too fast.
And this one, he's already Batman.
He starts off as Batman in the Batman, and he doesn't start off as Batman in Batman Begins. You get an origin story. So shut the hell up.
You don't know how long he's been training with the they don't say that. That he's been gone since he was a teenager.
He leaves for years to go train to be a ninja. Once again, I like the Batman. It's a good movie, but we don't have to tear down Christopher Nolan's movies to make the Batman look better, okay? You don't need to do that, okay? Yeah, sure, there are some flaws in The Dark Knight Rises, but it's still a good movie. It may not be the best Batman movie, okay?
I think after I may have to watch the Batman again, but in terms of Batman movies, my personal preference, it's The Dark Knight and then the Batman after. I really like the Batman.
But you don't need to say that Nolan was a hack to make your point about the Batman.
Because he's not, because he makes good movies.
Here's the next one. The Batman's Riddler was way better than Heath Ledger's Joker.
Nope. That's objectively false.
What? The reason why is because the Riddler in the Batman beats Batman, which is true. Like, he gets Batman to do what he wants.
Yeah, sure.
That's what the Joker did.
That's what the Joker did too. His whole plan was Harvey Dent turning into Two-Face. You moron!
and completely demoralizing.
It's the exact same plot. The Batman rips off the Dark Knight. It's the same thing.
Yeah, the Joker completely demoralized Batman in The Dark Knight, especially with the whole switcheroo.
Joker wins.
With the bombs, the switcheroo, Two-Face. This kid, whoever's writing this is a moron.
It's the same guy, Nathaniel Eric. I don't know how to say his last name.
The only thing that Joker didn't win is realizing that there was more humanity in the world and the boats didn't blow up. That's the only thing he lost.
Yep.
Everything else in that entire movie, Joker won the entire time.
I'm so.
He was in control from the opening scene at the bank robbery, to the very end, the last 10 minutes of the movie. He was 100% in control of Batman.
The Batman sets up Two-Face, and he makes more sense than the Joker. The Batman doesn't even mention Harvey Dent, I don't think. I'm going to have to rewatch it.
I think by that picture, they might be implying that the guy with the bomb strapped around his head.
He's not Harvey Dent. There's a whole scene with him. That's not the same character.
And also, he's dead because he got blown up.
He got blown up.
And Batman had his head in his hands, I'm pretty sure, when he Anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even want to read this one. The Robert Pattinson's The Batman trilogy. First off, it's not a trilogy yet. In the future, can redeem Nolan's worst wasted villain, talking about Scarecrow.
Scarecrow was awesome.
Nolan's treatment of Scarecrow is my favorite depiction of the character.
He's terrifying outside of the mask because he has those. What's the actor's name that does it? He's got those like super ice blue eyes. What is his name?
I don't remember.
Creepy guy. He
plays the same.
He's the guy in that Netflix show that there's a bunch of YouTube shorts on.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's Joe something.
He's also in Red Eye.
Joe who?
Jolene.
Yeah, he's in Red Eye. He is terrifying. Even he's outside of his Scarecrow outfit. He's the doctor, and you see him, and you get this, like, you see him, and you're just like, oh, it's this. I mean, objectively, it's this beautiful baby faced man. Like, you just want to cuddle with him, right?
Cillian Murphy.
No homo. I'm just saying, like, that's who you look at. You're just like, oh, he's not a dangerous individual. He's just got this. And he turns out to be the frickin' Scarecrow, which makes his innocent persona even more terrifying.
Peaky Blinders is the show I was talking about. He's all
also
kinds
in Red Eye. Yeah, I remember him being in Red Eye too, and he was just as good as in Red Eye.
Absolutely terrifying.
Same kind of character too. He's like this suave, handsome man who's attractive, and he's like, oh.
And what's cool is they keep bringing his character back in the sequels to the Batman. You know, he's not he's not super prominent, but he still exists, and because he's gone crazy because Batman beat him up. Like,
and while he was under the effect of his crazy serum, so it snapped his mind. Which in the comics is what happens. That's what happens in the comics. Scarecrow is the normal doctor who created this. Batman flips it around on him, and he ends up beating the crap out of the Scarecrow while under that hallucinogen, and it makes Scarecrow's mind snap.
We had just talked about this too when we were talking about the Batman, who were like, what villains do we want to see him face off against next? And I was like, I really like the Scarecrow, but then we all agreed, no, but he was done so well in Nolan. Like, we don't, we let's see someone else. It was unanimous. Like, yeah, he was good in that. Like Nathaniel Erkermail, like you were a moron. This is then we get to a different. So those are all the articles I found from him, but there are even more on Screen Rant from other authors that are just attacking Nolan's films. 9 things about the Dark Knight trilogy that have aged poorly. Poor use of the Scarecrow. Shut up. Batman's voice, okay, it's a little bit of a meme, but everyone has copied that voice ever since. Okay, so shut up. Batman's constricting suits. In the first one, there was a mobility issue. But have you seen any of the other Batman movies? Have you seen
Michael Keaton had to turn his whole body. He said he had headaches after acting because he couldn't turn his head freely.
It's a problem because it's a comic book movie, and comic books are ridiculous. And the fact that we have any live action comic book movies is a miracle. Okay, this isn't Nolan's fault. Shut up. The pacing of The Dark Knight Rises. Okay, that's fair. The Bat is apparently stupid. It is a cool hover tank. Shut up. How did Batman escape the explosion? Did you watch the movie? Shut up. Autopilot. Talia's backwards motivation. Okay, that's a little fair because she sleeps with him, but also wants to take him down. So, okay, that's 2 good points. And then Batman's magic knees. Have you read any of the comic books? The whole, Batman pretty much breaks every bone in his body and then creates an exoskeleton so he can still keep fighting crime. This is on point. Shut up. The ending of The Dark Knight, which is the best ending of any movie ever. Shut up.
That ending is perfect. How can
why does Screen Rant hate Christopher Nolan so much?
Hold on, I want to read.
Question.
Killing off Two-Face after Aaron Eckhart barely had the chance to shine. He's in the whole movie. The ending in which Batman has to go on the run is a bit forced. No, it's not. It's the entire point of the entire movie, and it's why the Joker wins, because Batman has to accept that he can't be the hero that he can't be who he wants to be. He has to be the thing that gets the dirty stuff done, right? He wanted to be a hero for the people, and he has to make the choice because of the Joker, who wins in this movie, that he resigns to his role as the Batman or whatever. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Batman says it's to take the fall of Harvey Dent so none of his work is done. Yes. However, it is the very first idea that Batman jumps to when there are other options.
Okay.
It's poetic.
I want to argue right here. They could have said that the Joker forced Harvey Dent to commit those crimes, or that Dent fell to his death trying to save Gordon's family. There were witnesses to the murders, no, people wouldn't have believed that.
It just feels like an easy cop-out for Batman to exploit so he has a reason to retire.
No.
But he didn't retire after that.
It's like a Greek tragedy.
The
Dark Knight is beautiful.
He retired even in Nolan's film. He retired. You find out in 3 that he still fought crime. He still did everything. He just didn't have the support of the police department, and they were hunting him. And then it was because of his knee, which arguably, again, Dark Knight Rises had some plot holes in it, but it was because of his knee he couldn't fight anymore. He couldn't walk anymore. He couldn't do any of that stuff anymore. And that's why he retired. And they don't even allude. They come out and say it in Dark Knight Rises. People are morons.
Yes, Martina, it is George Clooney that had the bat nipples. If you want to make fun of a Batman movie, make fun of Batman and Robin. Don't make fun of Christopher Nolan's almost perfect trilogy. That the third one wasn't the best. Okay,
Batman and Robin was, as a kid, awesome. Right, as a little kid, you watched that. We were all probably around 10 years old when that came out. That thing was amazing. You watch that as an adult now, and you're like, this is a hot sack of garbage.
So bad. I loved Mr. Freeze as a villain, though. So fun as a kid. He has a freaking bat credit card, man, and ski ice skates that pop out of his boots. Like, it's so good.
My favorite part was rubber lips.
Inspector Batman.
Yeah. What were you going to say something, Tanner?
I mean, if you've read Silver Age Batman comics, when Robin was introduced, there's all kinds of that ridiculous stuff.
Sure.
Because in the Silver Era, that was when parents were like, "Hey, our kids are reading these comics and they're too violent and blah blah blah." So they became very kid friendly, and so it was like the Joker went from "I'm gonna kill this guy" to "I'm trying to rob the bank," and then Batman and Robin catch the Penguin in a bird cage, and he's like, and it got a whole lot goofier. And in the Batman and Robin movie, all that stuff that was kind of typical for the Silver Era. But
it was very comic bookish. But it does not hold up well.
Yeah, Alan, like you said, comic books are insane. Yeah, and if the closer you are to the insane stuff, the weirder your comics are going to get.
It just doesn't make sense why these people hate Christopher Nolan so much. Like Screen Rant has some personal vendetta against the man. For what? I don't know.
Too hard for them to follow. There's too much story in it.
I know. All of these questions are the how did Batman escape the explosion? How did he do it? It's literally set up in the film that he gets the autopilot to work.
The ending of the
Do you know how to? Do you read books? Do you know how to read?
No, people don't read anymore. The end of the Dark Knight 2 is it's set up thematically. That's the whole theme of the movie. And if you're just the Joker, he kills the people.
I don't.
And you miss the whole theme of what's going on with where Batman's maybe Harvey, there's a good person now who will take care of the problems that I can't. And
but
then
the Joker gets caught at the end of the movie, so he didn't beat Batman. But also the Riddler got caught, but in this case he did beat Batman because he got to shoot the guy under the light. The Riddler is better than the Joker. The Riddler is
the thing about the Dark Knight is the Joker doesn't find out who Batman is.
Yeah, because he doesn't care.
Well, no, I know he doesn't care, but like he doesn't find it out. So Batman still has the bad guys caught, and the bad guy can't be like, oh, it's this person. Like, it was very well done. The Dark Knight was a very good movie.
Okay. We've got more bad takes, everybody. This one's good. Batman and 007 casting backlash is a disease, says actor who can't get cast in movies because he was in 50 Shades of Grey.
What?
Yeah,
he's got a point. He's got a point. Okay,
you become the whatever they call them. You become the sex slave master in 50 Shades of Grey. Your movie career is kind of shot. You know,
I looked it up. I looked up his IMDb. He's been in a TV show. He hasn't. He doesn't have work.
Other actors, they're like, oh, this dude was in James Bond, or this dude was in this show, or this dude was in Batman, or this dude was in The Flash, or this dude was in, I don't know, some rom-com.
There was
this guy was the guy who beat a girl during sex for 50 Shades of Grey.
There was a lot of backlash when they cast George Clooney as the Batman, and then they watched the movie and they're like, oh crap, we were wrong. George Clooney was great, and then he was in another movie, right? Or sorry, not George Clooney. Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton. Yeah, there was rightful backlash when they cast George Clooney. But yeah, people were up in arms about Michael Keaton, and then they watched the movie and they're like, "We were totally wrong."
Yeah, because up until that point, he was like the romantic comedy guy, right?
There was a bit of backlash when they announced Ben Affleck. But most people were like, he's not my first choice, but I could see it. Let's wait to watch the movie.
Right.
And there was like a murmur when they cast Robert Pattinson, but most people were like, we watched Good Time. We know he's going to do a good job.
Yeah, I think.
And Tenet. He was great in Tenet, too.
This has not been a problem for like 10 years.
Yeah.
Unless you're talking about casting, a black Snow White, then some people complain about that.
I am not a big fan of Ben Affleck. I haven't been a fan of a lot of his movies. I really liked how he played the Batman.
He was a great Batman.
But all thing about Justice League and the problem that movie was aside, him as Batman, I think he did a phenomenal job. One of my favorite scenes in Batman movies of all time is the scene of Batman and Wonder Woman after the fight. And Ben Affleck pours himself some whiskey and he's trying to get off his suit, and he's fighting gods. He's a human among gods. And he's like all beat up and just this, and you can tell he's a man of he's John Wick of just sheer freaking will, right? I thought he did a very good job as Batman. I really did.
He did.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember any backlash when they cast Daniel Craig as 007? He'd been in a bunch of gangster movies. He was in Layer Cake. And,
he was also in Golden Compass.
Yeah, that was after 007, I believe.
That came out as the same year as his first time being 007.
Okay, but before 007, I think all he'd been in was like hardcore gangster movies where he's like a cocaine dealer. Was anyone complaining about him being cast as 007?
I think it was mostly
his blonde hair. They mentioned he's blonde and people didn't like that.
I think it was so here's the thing. People that are like hardcore 007 fan, I maybe this is a generational thing because I didn't watch any James Bond movies until Daniel Craig.
Uh-huh.
And I think
because those were the movies that were coming out when we were old enough to watch movies.
Yeah, and I think older generations were used to like the Connery, older guys playing the suave, like.
That's not fair though, because they had just come off of
Pierce Brosnan,
who was pretty young,
and Sean Connery was pretty young when he played.
Yeah,
like
Sean Connery was young.
He's
when
old
he started.
now, but he was
Sean
young.
Connery was young when he started playing 007, and he was old when he stopped.
Right. He just played 007 for so long.
They brought him back. They recast him and then brought him back for another movie.
British people.
To bring it back to this article, though, it just goes to show you, like it's Jamie Dornan or something. I just read Jamie Dornan that played the guy from 50 Shades of Grey. No one, I mean, he can't, and like we're talking about, no wonder he can't get roles. Like I said before, you were in a softcore porn movie that was built off of a book that is absolute filth. It is absolute filth.
It's a real. People shouldn't judge. The casting backlash is a real problem because I can't get in. I can't get in.
Right. Well, that's what it is. You have got to, as a star, you cannot. You have to pick out. You have to
choose your roles.
You are not going to affect your career later on. And picking out a movie that is so.
I think the girl has actually been cast in a lot of movies.
Somebody look up her.
Look it up.
She's been in a lot of movies. She was in the Peanut Butter Falcon. She's been cast a lot. After 50 Shades of Grey, she was recently in Peanut Butter Falcon. That was really good. She was in the hard times at the El Royale, and she was really good in that one.
50 Shades Freed.
Oh yeah, she was in 50 Shades Freed. No,
yeah,
she actually has gotten a lot of work since 50 Shades of Grey.
I think,
but she's also been in stuff before.
Oh, did I say that out loud? My bad.
She's also been in stuff before 50 Shades of Grey too.
Yes, she was. He wasn't.
Right. Exactly.
You have got to, when you're an actor, look at the movie that you're in and honestly think, especially when you're starting out. And I'm not saying this from personal experience, because obviously we're not actors, but as a person looking in on it, you can't start your career on something like this and then expect to get other roles when everyone knows you as the dude who played a sex perv.
Yeah. I think Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson, they also, like, not that they played sex pervs, but with the Twilight films, I mean, people were like, oh, they were in those terrible vampire movies. Yeah. But they, thankfully, because of how popular that series was and how gullible young teenage girls are, they were able to make a ton of money and then just pick projects that they liked until eventually now they're coming back into, mainstream movies that people are like, oh, dang, they're good.
Yeah. But if you want
was in Harry Potter, though. Robert Pattinson was in Harry Potter.
True. Yeah.
In 4. And he's done a lot of good stuff. And going off of that, did you know that 50 Shades of Grey was actually a fan fiction based off of Twilight?
Yes.
Like,
that's a terrible script. And it was, I couldn't understand, like, why it got so popular, because I was in my senior year of high school.
Well, it got popular with Lonely Moms.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It did. I went on a cruise really when that book was big. My family took a cruise. We took a cruise down to the Caribbean, and everyone
was rating it.
I think every woman on that cruise, at least 50% of them, when you'd walk up on deck or something, was reading 50 Shades of Grey. It was anyway. Yeah.
If you Dakota Johnson is the girl in 50 Shades. If you want a good movie, Bad Times at the El Royale, 2018. She's in that.
I heard of that one.
She does a fantastic job in that movie.